touch on a lot of the stuff I touch on in boot camp. So if you've been at boot camp, you're going to hear a lot of the same stuff. And hopefully we'll expand a little bit deeper on it. And you should hear a lot of the same stuff on these Saturday morning classes because everything we do here is a system, and we want to be repeatable. We want to be able to do it over and over and over and over again. And so we don't change a lot. We just do the things that work, and hopefully we stick with it. And so how many of you in here called FSBOs? Okay, good. When I say it's a system, everything I tell you today, the script I'm going to give you, the way I approach it and go about it, you can take it and make it and put your own personality into it. You can make it exactly the same that I do. Just whatever you do, don't change the order that we do things, and don't change why we're doing because it works. Okay, and so I don't want to get into some of the minor stuff. I want to get into some of the stuff that's going to that you guys are going to walk away today, feeling like this morning. So I'm just going to start off with the script. I'm going to go through, tell you what I do when I call for sale by owners, what I say when I call them, what do I do when I go on the appointment, and then what do I do when I follow up, and ultimately how do I convert them into a listing, because our ultimate goal here is to convert the for sale by owner into a listing. So first thing you got to do is, before you pick up the phone, you got to go find the for sale by owners, okay? And there's several ways you can do that. The absolute best, who can tell me the best way to, the best FSBO way to grab FSBOs or whatever?
Driving around the neighborhood.
Driving around the neighborhood. So why driving around the neighborhood? Why is that the best way?
Because if they're not on Trulia or Zillow, them is the best ones to have, because not very few realtors probably have called them, so they probably won't cuss you out.
What if you will get cussed? I promise you that at some point if you by calling FSBOs. So what if there's a sign in the yard and they are on Zillow or Trulia? I still think they're better to call. And why is that? Can somebody answer that?
You say you've been there?
You what?
Check out the rest of the neighborhood.
You can check out the rest of the neighborhood. Yeah. The reason. Yep. There you go. That's the reason why I like to do drive-bys, because when they answer the phone, already that the house is on the market. I so many times I'll go through Zillow, Trulia, for salebyowner.com, owners.com. I'll go through all these websites and I'll start to call them. And the first thing they say is, "Man, that house sold 6 months ago," or "That house is listed already." They don't keep their websites up to date, and really it's whoever put it on there. So really it's the owner who doesn't, once they sell it or move on, they don't think to close it out, and so they're on there for sometimes years, and so it's I don't know, I never know if the house is for sale. But when somebody has a sign in their yard, usually for sale by owner, when we sell a house, we don't put sold on it because we still want to get sign calls. But when a for sale by owner sells their house, they're probably going to remove the sign from the yard because they don't want to be harassed anymore. The house is sold. So they're going to remove it. If the sign is in the yard, then their house is still for sale. And it's still for sale, but you know that you have something to go after, right? The Zillow, when you call, if they don't answer the phone, you still don't know. You don't know anything. If they don't answer, you at least can leave a message on the signs. If you drive by, get the number of the sign, you call those numbers, you can at least leave a message because there's a chance you'll get a call back. Okay, so that's the best way. I've done it every single way, but from doing it, driving is by far the absolute best way as far as getting results of getting your appointments. Okay, so here's kind of the flow of things. Drive, go get an address. I don't need a name. I don't need to know square footage. I don't need to know the price. I don't need to know beds and baths. A name and an address, or phone number and an address. I don't need their name. Just need a phone number and an address. Go grab the FSBO. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to call. Okay. On the phone call, I've kind of broken it up into 3 parts. Okay. The first part, now if you're driving around, this first part is going to be very easy. You're already going to know the answer, but I still kind of go through the motions. I'm calling. The first part is Find out if the house is for sale. Okay, still for sale. The second part is tell them that you're a realtor. Will you work with a realtor? Okay, on the buying side. That's the second part. And then the third part is get the appointment. So is the house for sale? Will you work with a realtor? Get the appointment. Those are the three parts as you're making your phone calls. And when you're making your phone calls, I've listened in a lot of phone calls and a lot of new agents making phone calls. And I did it. Everybody gets nervous when they're calling somebody they don't know, or if you feel like you don't know real estate very well, you're like, what if they ask me something I don't know? So you start to psych yourself out, and so it kind of comes across on the phone when you're talking. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they have no idea that you're scared to death on the phone, and so just continue to go through the motions, and just remember you're trying to get the appointment. Every objection they give you, I don't care what it is. I'm only gonna pay you $500. I'm only gonna give you 1%. I don't like realtors. Do you have a buyer? If you're not, then don't come by. Just every objection, try to counter it with somehow I got to get this appointment. Now, if they are just, it's going to be like a feel thing. You're going to, as you do this more and more, you're going to start to realize that, this person is probably not worth my time, or they really don't want me to come by. We're not going to push and push and push. I mean, they'll eventually hang up on you and cuss you out, right? Kind of read each situation, but here's the ratios on the phone calls. If you make 10 contacts, okay, you're going to get 7 appointments. I promise you'll get 7 appointments if you're following the script the right way. And then of those 7 appointments, you will convert 3 of those into listings if you're following it and doing it the right way. Carrie's in the back. He's been here a couple weeks now, and he's been calling FISBOs. He's set up 5 appointments now, or 4?
Yes.
Probably 5. 1, 2.
At least 4.
At least 4. I think 4 is all I know of. 4, maybe 5. But
one I'm by myself.
yeah, okay.
So
So 5. No, I'm counting that one. So no, you're right. 5. He's got on 5. He should for sure get 2 of those listings, and potentially there's a chance for a third one. So those numbers, that's really good. That's 3 out of half the numbers I just gave you, and so it works, right, Carrie?
It really, really works. I mean, we were wearing this guy out yesterday. So if he doesn't listen with us, he is crazy.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
If he doesn't listen to us, he's an idiot.
It's really gone good. If I can add my 2 cents in there from just my couple weeks being here, that going out there with somebody that's veteran, Curtis and Casey was with me on one of them, and they were talking. So I just put my phone on record so I can get what the verbiage that they're saying and trying to get how they say it, the routine that they go through. So I'm picking up. I'm learning a lot. I haven't mastered it yet, but I just feel like if I can just get in front of them, I've already increased my chances. Then I've started following up with some, so they're weakening now.
Mm-hmm. So Carrie's next step is to kind of go do this on his own and start to. The more you do it, the more you learn what to say, how to overcome objections. That's going to be both on the phone and and then go on the appointments with you at first until you feel comfortable doing it on your own. I always tell people, I think we all teach this, the first 10 don't count, okay? So don't get discouraged. And remember, 7 out of 10 you're not going to get, so you're going to fail more than you're going to succeed, okay? So don't get discouraged when you get a no, go screw the thing up. You can't learn it unless you go do it, and you're not going to learn what to do unless you figure out what not to do. And so when you're making a phone call, you're on the phone with somebody, and they say something, and you stumble. Okay, bye. Hang on. See you later.
That's what happened.
It happens all the time, right? You don't know. You freeze. You don't know what to say. I'm sorry. You don't like realtors. Goodbye. So you're gonna sit there and think, oh man, I'm an idiot now, and I blew it, and then you start to think, okay, here's what I could have said. Here's what I should have said. And so the next time somebody says, I hate realtors, you'll know to say,
I do too.
I hate realtors too. We have to share that in common. You start to kind of play their game. Like, do you have a buyer for my house? And you know, a lot of times at the beginning, you're like, people go, no, and 99% of the time, I don't have a buyer on the house I'm calling on. But they always, I shouldn't say always, half the time they're going to ask you that question, and I'm just like, I don't know, I haven't seen your house. What I do is I like to come out and preview the home because I want to be an expert in the area, and I can't be an expert unless I see the home. And then they go, well, all the pictures are online. It's on Zillow. Go look at the pictures. I don't want to waste my time showing it to you. It's very difficult to get a feel for the floor plan and the layout of the house just by pictures. I can't tell the quality of the work by looking at pictures. When I'm working with a buyer, I try to only show them 2 to 3 houses, and the way I limit that and save my buyer's time is I go preview the house, make sure it fits their criteria, then I go and I show them the house if it fits their criteria. And this is what I'm telling the for sale by owner, and to get them to let me come out and preview the house. Because I've had people be complete assholes on the phone. You show up to the house, and then all of a sudden it's like, are you the same person on the phone? You know, like they start to warm up to you and warm up to the idea of you being there, and now maybe you're helping them and everything. So remember this too throughout the entire process. I'll probably write this down too. There's 2 things that you're trying to accomplish in the mind of a seller. You're trying to show them that you just had a little bit of value. Show them that you have value. The second thing that you want to create in their mind is you want them to doubt themselves just a little bit. If you can have them do both of those things, chances are they're going to list with you. And so many times we tell you guys statistics. 85% of the time, a for sale by owner is going.
What was the second thing?
You want to create doubt in their mind that they don't know what they're doing. So 85% are going to list, and our goal is to get them to list with you. And they're going to probably list with somebody that either that comes recommended or somebody that they've met and that they trust. They're going to want to do business with. Okay. All right. So you got the 3 things on the phone call. You go to the appointment. And then you have a follow-up call. We say follow-up every Monday because that means that they went another weekend with their house not selling. You want to hit them hit them when they're down, I guess. I change that up. If I go see a FSBO on Monday or Tuesday, I really hate waiting a week. Like, go by, not talking. They're going to forget about you, and they don't care. You might be thinking about it all week long, and then you call them on Monday, and they're like, who's this? What, you saw my house? Well, 20 people have seen my house. And so I try, it depends on how the appointment goes. If I establish a good relationship and a good rapport, I might call like on Thursday, maybe Friday, and then I'll talk to them, and then in my follow up call, I'll say, okay, great. Well, I'm gonna follow up again with you on Monday just to check in. Okay, great. And so you kind of set that expectation of you're going to be calling them every single week. All right, so let's go over the script, and then I really want to answer questions, and maybe even if anybody has any FSBOs, I might even want to try to call some in front of you, or see if we might maybe do role play. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yes.
I got one question.
Yeah.
What are the best FSBOs to call? The ones that's been trying to sell for a while, or the brand new ones?
I don't pay attention to that. I just need an address and a phone number. Okay. I don't care how many days on the market. I don't care. Unless you're going to put in your script, like, you've been on the market for 2 months, I use the same thing every time, and it doesn't matter how many days on the market. It doesn't matter. People sometimes like, oh, it's a $500,000 house. I'm not calling that one because I don't know what I'm doing. They're probably smart. I don't care. I don't care. It's the same script every single time. It's very systematic. It works for me, so I don't ever change it. And so I'll tell you what I did when I started. Everyone said he made $100,000 in his first 12 months. Well, it didn't just fall in my lap. I quit my job, came to Kevo Properties, and I have a family, and so it scared me enough to pick up the phone. Okay, I have to make money. I have to pay the bills. my family's not going to live on the streets, okay? So the way that I know to make money and sell real estate, well, one, I sold, before I got here, I sold 4 houses in 4 years. So why I quit and thought I could be good in real estate, I have no idea. No idea. It's just crazy that I did that. But I felt comfortable after meeting with Steve and Brandon and the things that they were teaching and the mentorship and knowing I had support. It made it easier for me to say, hey, this actually probably works. They're actually teaching me something. I remember like in my second or third year part-time in real estate, I didn't even know what a FSBO was. I remember I was driving around a neighborhood and I saw a sign that said for sale by owner. I thought, I go, that may be somebody maybe I can list that house. And I thought I didn't know that those people got harassed by realtors all the time. So I'm in like a newbie realtor with no script, and I call on this house, and I start telling them why they should list their house with me over the phone. Doesn't work. And so I stopped calling because I'm like, well, that doesn't work. Yeah, and so I sucked. And so when I started, I picked up the phone, and if you have seen our daily checklist, I think that something that Baca created. That's Brandon for those of you who don't know Baca. He tells on that checklist, it says to make 2 FSBO appointments every single day, Monday through Friday. I only did 1 for 3 months, and I made $100,000 in 12 months. So if you do 2 a day, I don't know what that income would look like if you really did it. I think it'd be really hard to keep up with, but I think it's a good goal. And so that was my goal, was to set 1 appointment every single day. So, and let's go through that real quick. What does that look like? And it's a lot of work, and you'll see why. Monday, well, first of all, I spend the weekend or whatever. I'm driving around. I got my FSBOs. I got a list of FSBOs to call. So Monday, I call FSBOs, and then I don't stop calling until I set an appointment. If I run out of, once I've drove by, if I run out of those, then I start going through the internet and trying to find them. I don't stop until I set an appointment. Some days it took 2 hours, some days it took an hour, some days it took 5 minutes, okay? I didn't stop until I set an appointment. Now, if I'm getting real exhausted of things, I would start driving around until I found more signs, and then I would call until I set an appointment. Sometimes I would call, like I'd find a FSBO sign, I would call and I would go to that appointment, I'm like, I'm around your house now. Can I just come by now? Sure, come on by. So sometimes I set an appointment like right then and there. There were times, my wife and I were headed to dinner, and there's a for sale by owner sign that we drove past, and like we have reservations at like 7. I gotta go. We gotta turn around and get that FSBO. We'll be fine. We're 5 minutes late. I don't care. We gotta get that FSBO. And so every FSBO I saw, I wrote down. I kept it in my notebook. I had my friends, they knew I called for sale by owners. They would send me text messages, pictures of for sale by owners in their neighborhood. That didn't happen a lot, but it probably, a dozen times I had people send me pictures. If you just tell people to do that, they'll, if they like you enough, they'll do it. This is my brother-in-law, so I think, he liked me enough to do it. And so that's what it looked like. That's what I did. So Monday I'm calling, I set an appointment. Let's say I set the appointment for Tuesday, okay? So I'm done working for Monday, right? Tuesday comes. Now I call on Tuesday until I set another appointment, okay? Let's say I set that appointment for Wednesday. I go to my appointment on Tuesday. Now I'm done for the day. Wednesday comes. I call until I set an appointment. Let's say I set that appointment for Wednesday. Now I go to both FSBO appointments on Wednesday. Now I'm done for the day. Thursday comes. I call until I set an appointment and go to any FSBO appointments I've set for that day, and then I'm done for the day. So now here's where it gets busy. The next week, Monday happens. Monday, I call until I set a FSBO appointment. Now I am going to any FSBO appointments I set for Monday, and now I'm following up with every single person I saw the week before. So if you haven't listed it yet, that should be 5 people that you're following up with on Monday. The following Monday, you're going to be following up with possibly 10 people going on your FSBO appointments until the average is about 30 days. You potentially could be following up with 20 people on a Monday, right? Now, if you keep adding 5 every and you're just falling, I mean, you got to eventually you're gonna have to convert them. You're going to convert them if you're following the right steps. So that number is going to go down, go back up, go down. Sometimes like their house sells. Sometimes they list with somebody else, and so it'll drop off that way. But you can see how you get busy. And if you did 2 every single day, you, you would have a full-time job, and it's really a full-time job doing FISBOs, and then you're doing your open houses on the weekends. If you're doing these things, you guys, I'm telling you, there's no way you can't make money in this business if you do these things. I really want to harp on the system and doing it the way that we teach it, because I was walking around the office earlier in the week, and I heard some people on their FISBO calls. And even people on my team, I was listening in, and they completely went off script. And I'm like, and I forget, they're new, and when you get nervous, you forget the things that you're supposed to say. So practice the script, and again, do it 10 times, but as soon as you get off the phone, reflect on what you just said, and then look at the script and think about what you said and say, did I do this right? Because let's go through what I say, and then I'll tell you what I heard people saying. Okay, so you got your FISBOs, you pick up the phone, you call the number, and you have the address in front of you. Okay, that's all you need, right? The other person answers the phone, and the first thing I say is, "Yeah, hi, I'm looking to speak to the owner of 5225 North Chartel Avenue." And yeah, this is he, this is she, and oh, great. Is that I was just wondering, is that house still? And they'll say yes or no, and so there, part 1 is done. Right? We found out the house was for sale. If the house is not for sale, you move on. It doesn't count. I don't count it as one of my 10. If they don't answer, I don't count it as one of my 10. So yes, that house is still the house is still for sale. Well, great. So the very next thing I say is, I don't want to waste. I just want to let you know I don't. Hold on, let me go through this again. Is your house still for sale? Yes, it is. Okay, great. Well, just to let you know up front, I don't like to waste anybody's time. I want to let you know that I am a realtor. And I just wanted to find out if I could bring you a buyer, would you be willing to work with me on the buying side only? And you can get anywhere from there's 50 different answers you get after you say that. The best answer is sure. And that's going to happen most of the time. They're going to say yes. You will get a lot of people, as soon as you tell them you're a realtor, they're going to cut you, right? You're going to get people that are like, I'm not paying 6%. I don't want to list my house. And then, and so you now know immediately you want to list the house, but that's not the purpose of this phone call. You got to remember, the purpose of the phone call is I want to come see your house. I'm not trying to list your house. At that moment, you're not, right? But you are going to try to list that house in the future, right? But so that's the mindset. You know that, so it can be hard. I feel like you're tricking somebody, but you're really not, because I really do try to find a buyer for these for sale by owners if I can. I tell them I tell them 10% of the time I might find a buyer for your house, and that's not very often. Okay, so as soon as I go through that, and find out, as soon as you go through all the objections and say I'm a realtor, will you work with me on the buying side only? I'm not going to list. Well, I'm just talking about the buying side. If I just bring you a buyer, well, do you have a buyer? I haven't seen your house yet. I don't know. I have buyers that I work with on a daily basis. My office works with buyers on a daily basis. And so what we do is we pre-screen them, we pre-qualify them, we find out what they like, and then I go find it for them. And I preview houses. And so go through all that stuff. When they say they're willing to work with you, then I start just having a conversation. Can you tell me a little bit about your house then? Everything that's great about their house. There's nothing wrong with the first time I own a house. In fact, there's probably more wrong with some first-time owners are selling because they don't want to have inspections. They're trying to avoid doing inspections because they know there's something wrong, and they're hoping to find somebody that doesn't have a realtor, and we can go through this kind of in a weird way. And I didn't really understand that concept, and that might not make sense to you until I saw first-time owner doing it, and I was like, oh, that's why they're listing for sale by honor. You know, they don't want to do inspections. So you find out about their house. They'll tell you all the great things. You say, great. Well, you know, what I do is I preview homes, that, you know, all that stuff. And when's a good time? Like, how do you do showings? You know, when are you available? I would like to come see the house. And then they'll tell you. And when you do it that way, and instead of, and sometimes I'll ask, like, when's a good time for you? Can I come see your house? Can I preview your house? I try to stay away from that language, and I try to just say, I would like to come preview your house. When's a good time to come see it? Like, I'm coming to see your house. Like, tell me when, you know? And so, not like, can I? And it works when you say, can I? Once you kind of, you know, go through that script, you know, but what works better is just assuming you're going and finding out what time. That works way better. And so then they tell you a time, and you're done. You know, you set the appointment. I would set 2 a day sometimes if I started calling, I started getting better at it, you know, a month into it. That's the thing, guys. You've got to get through kind of the rejection and the no and not getting down on yourself, because I probably didn't start getting good at it for like a month. And then I was setting them in 5, my first call, second call. And so then I would start setting my second appointment if I really wanted to go after it. And so, but yeah, sometimes my work day was only 5 minutes long in the beginning. And so that's the phone call. Again, the 3 things that I like to teach when selling real estate is going to be, the number one thing is honesty. I try to be as honest as I possibly can be with people, and they like that. The FSBO that Carrie and I were on last night, she's listed $20,000 over price, and over like the value of her house. And she goes, I don't want to list my house with a realtor that doesn't believe they can sell it for $270,000. She's like, I had a realtor tell me it was worth $248,000. I'm not hiring them, because if they don't believe that, you know, anybody can sell a house for what it's worth, if they don't believe that it's worth, you know, if they don't think they can get me $20,000 more, then I don't want them working for me. And so she goes, what do you think it's worth? And I knew it was worth about $250,000. And I'm like, look, you know, when I tell you something, I just say I'm as honest as I can be with people. I don't like to, whatever price I give somebody, that's the price that it is. Not less than that, not more than that. That's the price I believe it is. That's the price I'm going to sell it for. So if people want to leave room for negotiations, I don't do that. I'm going to sell it for 100% of the list price, okay? As long as we list it for what it should sell for. And I'm like, the market, I can't, I would love to sell your house for $1 million, but I can't. You know, everybody would love to pay off debt and do all this stuff, you know, with their primary residence, but it just doesn't work that way. And so I said, it doesn't do me any good to try to, you know, if I list your house for more than it's worth, all it's going to do is sit there on the market. It's going to waste your time. It's going to waste my time. And so I try to be as honest as I can. Now, we didn't get that far with Karen and I didn't get as far as to say exactly what the price is. I kind of left it like, well, now that I've seen your house, I see the quality. She didn't have granite countertop, and she's trying to get $20,000 more than list. She says that her quality is where it's the value. She goes, if somebody wants granite, this ain't the house for them. If they want quality, this is the house for them. $20,000. It's gonna take a special buyer. You go find that special buyer. And so I left it with, well, now that I see the quality, let me go see and all that stuff, because there's also opportunity in knowing that if they're not going to change their mind, get a sign in the yard and just start picking up buyers off it. So, you know, even if you know it's not going to sell, but, you know, I try to be as honest as you can and say, look, I don't think it's going to sell for $270, but we can try, and I will try to do it. So let's try, and then, but I think it's going to be worth around $250, like that original agent told you. And so, anyways, let's go, because I want to do questions. I want to maybe call some people.
Can I ask a
yes, go ahead.
This is kind of, I guess, a follow up. But you say if you do price it right and you get an offer that's, you know, 10,000 less or something, how do you handle that negotiation?
Okay, so if it's worth $250. Depends on how desperate is my seller? Do they need to sell? Do they want to sell? Are they willing to negotiate? If they're not willing to negotiate, I mean, you can just stand strong. You know, you might say, well, here we can sell it for list price, but maybe I'll give you $5,000 in closing costs. So what I like to do in negotiating, and you guys, if you've done any kind of offers, you've probably learned this. I like to wait as long as possible when I counter, because the buyer is like they want to hear back, they're ready to go, and then sometimes I'll get a call from the agent. Hey, are you going to submit as a counter? And then I know, okay, they really want the house, and so then I just counter back. Hey, look, here's has granite, it has hardwood floors. Here's the comps. Like, this house is worth $250,000. Our counter is $250,000. Our counter is $249,500. We're willing to work with you, but you're $10,000 off. We can't work with that. There's nothing wrong with losing an offer if you think if they're people. That's why people lowball, because they think people are like, oh, I'm not going to get any other offers. I have to take this one. But if it's really low, then you just work. You'll learn how to be tough, and when to be tough and when not to be tough. Because there are instances where I'm like telling the seller, look, you need to take this offer. Okay?
Darhan, I think it really has more to do with setting your seller expectations right. Most times you're going to tell your seller what they're wanting to list for, and they're going to want to list it for more than you say. But at least you told them, right, about what it was going to sell for before. But the reality of it is it depends on, right, price and condition, and then the other two things are what? Showings and offers. How many showings do we have? And we have an offer in hand now, so we need to work it up as high as we can get it. And then remember days on the market. If we put days on market, if we put it back on the market, that's going to be more days on market, which is a slow bleed in terms of
price.
Getting your value. So a lot of it comes with seller expectation, right? It's going to be very rare that you go, I think we should list this house, or I think this house is going to sell at $249,500. We should list it at $249,500. Your seller's going to go, let's do $255,000 most of the time. But you have to set your seller expectations right, and no matter what value you give them, it doesn't really what we're wanting, right? And you don't want to paint yourself in a box, but what we're wanting is to say, okay, the market's going to tell us the value of your house. I can guess, you can guess, but honestly, we're going to only be able to tell by price, condition, showings, offers.
And to back that up, let me trace my steps backwards here. That thing I said where when I tell you the price of the house, like that's what it's going to be and that's what we're going to sell for. That's not part of my pitch when I'm listing a house or trying to get someone to list with me. That was a special circumstance where I had to convince her, like, she's way overpriced, and I'm trying to convince her, like, hey, I can get you a full asking price, but it's got to be, they're telling me that it is, right? And Brandon is that right. You always have to set expectations because they always think they want to leave room for negotiation. So I just say, look, I'll list it for $255,000, but I really think it's going to sell for the $247,000. And so that way, when you have to have that conversation of let's lower the price, it's easier because I told you, and yes, market is going to determine. Always make sure that they know that the market is going to determine the price of your house and price condition. You got a question over there, bro? Or are you stretching?
Good question.
What's up?
Talk about the conversation you had at the actual appointment.
That's what I'm getting to. Yeah. So honesty, and then consistency, right? Calling every day, and then hard work. Those are the three things I like to teach. Okay. Now let's get to Brett. We have the phone call. We set the appointment. That we get to the house. Okay. We're at the house, and when I walk into the house, I just act like I'm a buyer. I mean, they know I'm an agent. I don't say, hey, I'm a buyer. I walk in. I say, show me the house. Tell me about your house. And they walk me through the house. They point things out. The whole time I'm in that house, I'm trying to find something that I can point out and help them on their listing. This is where I show my value, right? And so the one I always use as an example, you guys have probably heard this one. One of my first for sale by owners, Brandon and I were walking through. He had a window unit in the master bedroom, and the first question we had was, do you have central heat and air? Yes. Does it work? Yes. Get rid of that window unit because people are going to think that it doesn't work, that it doesn't cool it enough. So get rid of that window unit. And, you're just looking for small things like that. Maybe even something simple as, hey, you might want to tidy this room up a little bit more. It looks a little cluttered. And before I say anything like that, before I tell them their house stinks, like smells bad, not but I'll say, is it okay? Can I be honest with you and give you some good constructive feedback? Because you're probably not getting that from buyers, because buyers don't feel comfortable giving that to their sellers. They always say yes, and so then I'll tell them in the best way I can, like, hey, you're probably used to this, but as soon as I walked into the house, I can smell your animals. So you might want to get a Scentsy candle, maybe clean the carpets. You might want to do something to help that, because if you're getting people in your house and you're not getting offers, that's probably why. They're like, oh, thank you so much. So now you've created value, and that also kind of creates a doubt in their mind. Like, I don't know if I really know what I'm doing. I don't know how to. You want to tell them all the things that they have to do. There's like, we negotiate for them. We go through repairs. We make sure that they're getting exactly what they should be. We do professional pictures. We make sure that we market it the right way. We keep the deal together. We deal with lender. We deal with title company. As soon as if you can somehow work that into a conversation, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was that much involved in the sale of real estate. They start to freak out, and they're going to list with you. Okay, so so we're at the house.
I tell them getting an offer on the property is half the battle. That's the easy part. Yeah. Getting to the closing table is the hard part.
Exactly.
Coordinating everyone involved, inspections, appraisals, navigating all that. That's in some cases, a lot of cases, more difficult than actually finding a buyer and negotiating the contract.
Yeah, when I put a house under contract, I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, it means nothing.
It means nothing until like I get through inspections and appraisal, and then I still don't feel 100% good, but I feel better. So yeah, Brett, half the battle is getting an offer closed. For sale by owners, half the battle is getting the appointment. The other half of the battle is getting into the list with you, right? So so we're at the house. I have them show me. I give them the positive, constructive feedback. You have to ask for the business at some point. Here's how I ask for the business. 95% of the time I do it at my first appointment. I say do it the first appointment or the first follow-up because I don't want too much time to pass where they think I'm just going to try to find them a buyer. And what I say at the appointment is, first I try to listen for something like, man, like I have 20 buyers or 20 people look and no offers, or I'm getting so many calls. I can't show my house during the day. Like I have to show it at night. As soon as I hear something that says that they need a professional to help them, I say, hey, look, first things first, I'm going to try to find you a buyer. Let me take this back to the office. Let me see if I know anybody that has a buyer. Let's see if we can find you a buyer. But if you get tired of handling all of the phone calls and doing all the work yourself, I'll do a full service listing for 4.5%, and I'll leave it at that. And that's all I say. I either say that then or I say it on my first follow up, and then the biggest thing is, well, why do we do for 4.5%? For us, I'll be real quick. I say that I'm never quick, right? 4.5%. You get it saves the for sale by owner money. That's what you're trying to do. It gets me signs in the yard, so it gives me a competitive advantage. And so I don't like to spend a lot of money on marketing. My marketing is signs in the yard. So why not pass the money I would spend on marketing? Why don't I spend it on my customer savings? And that's my marketing budget, right? Is that 1.5%? So I tell them that, and then I took this from Brandon. If I can do, if I charge you 6% to list your house, and I do a good job. I mean, that's what you paid me to do, is a good job to sell your house. If I do it at 4.5% and I do a great job, like, now you're going to tell your friends and family about me, because not only are you saving money, but you also got a better realtor. And that's how I make a living, is getting your friends and family on board as well. And so that's the appointment. The first follow-up, you can say anything on the first follow-up, almost anything. People don't know what to say, especially like after you get past the question. The first question I always ask, hey, did your house sell yet? No. And then so what do I say from there? I set up searches in the MLS in the neighborhood to see if any houses go on the market, if any new houses go pending or sold. I go, hey, by the way, the house down the street just sold. I just wanted to let you know that it sold for $115 a foot. and just kind of give them that information, or I just trying to have a conversation with them. I just want to stay in front of them because they are going to decide to list their house, and I just want to have a good relationship with them for when they do decide that. And so then I always remind them, don't forget, I will do that 4.5%, and whenever you're ready, have a great day. And sometimes the follow-ups I've had follow-ups go 20 minutes. I've had some follow-ups go 30 seconds. It just depends on the person. So that's that. Now, any questions in regards to any of the steps on what we're doing here? Yes, Calvin.
Well, I had I don't know why that happened, but I had a for sale by owner, and I'm looking at Britt because I called him after the for sale by owner freaking out. But like the lady was super sweet over the phone, and like I met her the same day I called her, and like she was super sweet. I was so excited to get there and everything like that. And I got there. As soon as I got there, she was a bitch.
So you got the reverse. I usually get asshole nice, so you got nice asshole.
Yeah. She apparently, because the same day she had put her sign in the yard, and I think 5 realtors had already called her that same day. So like she had, and I followed the script exactly, and she wasn't under the impression I was trying to list it. And whenever I got there, she wasn't under the impression I was trying to list it, but then she just somehow knew I was trying to list it, and like she just went off. Like she was just talking to me any old kind of crazy way, and just
If somebody's going to treat you bad, then don't use your judgment and don't work with them.
Yeah.
You don't have to let somebody treat you bad in this business, okay? It's going to happen. You're going to get people to get upset. Just remember when people start saying that, like, are you just trying to list my house? Like, say no. I would love to list your house, okay? But I would love to try to help find a buyer. And also, if you need help with anything in the meantime, I'm here. I'm always available. Call me, and I'll do everything I can to help you. If you have any questions, if somebody comes by and you don't know if it's the right thing, or call me. I don't have to have a listing agreement to give you advice. I would love to list it, but for now, let me try to find a buyer for you. And again, half of it is getting the appointment. The other half is closing it. That to close it is going to be the follow-up, not the appointment. The follow-up is most important. Brett, I'm going to show that. I don't know if you guys are going to see it. Brett sent me a text message yesterday.
Can you get on the full screen?
I don't know. I don't know how to do it, but I don't think we have time. But let me find it. I'll just show it to you.
I'll see if I can do it on this.
I want to say again, and Curtis mentioned this. Your first 10 for sell by owners don't count. Do not come back after your first 10 and go like, I didn't get any of them, or I don't think it works, or and I mean, that the first 10, it's going to beat you up a little bit, and that's okay. And another thing is you have to remember. Have you ever gotten in a conversation with somebody? It didn't go how you planned, and you go back and you replay and you go, oh, I should have said this. Oh, I should have said that. Well, that's what it's like with for sale by owners. You get to do that every single. There's only about 5 conversations that you're going to have with for sale by owners. So eventually, you have that conversation so many times, and you go back and you think about, okay, they said this, I should have said this. They said this, I should have said. You do it so much to where you're having the same 5 conversations, and when somebody says something, you know exactly what to say.
Yep.
Right, but you have to do enough of them to work through all of those different scenarios. You have to do enough of them for your brain to put all those different scenarios together to work that flow chart for this person says this, I say this. This type of person says this, I say this. So make sure, right? Don't ever give up after a month and say for sale by owners don't work. Don't come back after your first 10 and say for sale by owners don't work. You have to put in the numbers in all areas of this business. You have to put in the numbers for it really to work.
For that purpose, to learn the scripts. And remember, the average to turn it over is 30 days. So your work that you're doing today is not. You're not going to see the benefits of it actually for probably maybe 60 days because it's going to take 30 days to list, 30 days. It might be 90 days, 30 days, 30 days to contract, and then 30 days to sell. So for that purpose, but also you want to have the numbers so that you keep your pipeline full. I have so many people that set an appointment and they get so excited they stop. What if you get to the appointment and they're your person and they just it's the one that they're absolutely upset and you don't get the listing. So don't quit. You gotta remember 7 out of 10 are gonna be no's. 3 out of 10 will say it. So you gotta get 10 appointments. Just keep setting them. So
here's one other thing before you show that video is I think when realtors go, and I hear this a lot, they say, I've got this for sale by owner, I really think I'm going to get them. You're not going to get them. All right? Again, it's a numbers game, right? I don't care how much you think you're going to get them. The ones you think aren't going to work out will, and the ones you think will work out won't. You don't know, right? You just have to do the numbers for it to work.
Okay. Yeah. Did you get it pulled up, Brad?
No, I couldn't find it.
Okay, you guys, I don't think you'll be able to, I don't know. I'm going to try to turn up the volume here. Oops. Wait, hold on. Okay. It says when you when you find out your team didn't make FSBO follow-up calls. Okay. So. So I don't know if you guys watch Walking Dead, but the scene, I think that was when his wife and his mom died.
So that's FSBO died. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't follow up, you will never get a for sale by owner. Question.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add something. I do go and drive through neighborhoods. I've been doing that. I've had a little success with it. But one of the things I wanted to mention, this was kind of a disciplinary thing for me, was rather than drive through and get 7 to 10 and sit down the next morning and make them, I tried to train myself that when I found a FSBO, drive down the block, find a shade tree, pull over and make a call.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Love that idea.
And that was just, kind of a discipline thing for myself.
Yeah, absolutely, because we were talking about this yesterday. What if you wait a day and somebody else calls it and gets it, right?
That's something I wanted to share too, because I did have an experience. I did a for sale by owner. Guy was super sweet. He loved me and said I did a good job and all this good stuff about me. And I never followed up. And then I was scrolling through the MLS and stuff like that one day, and I seen his house was on the market with another Kevo real estate agent. Never followed up or anything like that.
You did the work for somebody else.
Yeah, you did. You did.
You know what? It's probably gonna.
Good job, Michael.
Yeah. So, like I said,
You guys, you're all gonna learn that lesson.
yeah, you are. I mean, 50% is follow-up, and you'll learn too. Nobody does FSBOs like we do. Your competition is in this room. Okay, nobody. I don't care. The other. I remember I lost one to Tara Levinson one time. She has a team, and she's gonna probably bring the buyer and sell it on her own. Because that's part of their presentation. Because I went and talked to them once, and just trying to one, learn what they do. Tell them about us. Long story, but they say that they tell people that they can sell 35%. They get both sides of the transaction at a time, and it's because we have a team. It's because that I have people dedicated to marketing your property and putting it. I have a Facebook dedicated team and all this stuff. So I lost it to that pitch, but. That's an established name. They knew they were going to go with her, so I don't feel like I really lost it. They just know that name and they went with her. They didn't ever saw her. She probably didn't ever do anything, but your competition is in this room, and so just when you get them, call them right away. I did that, and I've had a couple times where I've actually listed that day when I went to the appointment. Like one time I did the same thing, went down the street, called. And they go, yeah, when can you come by? And I go, you know what? I say it. I just drove by. I just saw your sign. That's why I'm calling. So I'm really close. Can I swing by now? Yeah, come on by. Went by, did my whole spiel. They go, I really like you. I want a list. And I go, great.
I gotta call my team lead.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. If you don't know how to do the paperwork, get their email address and get with your mentor, and they'll do the paperwork. Does anybody have any FSBOs that you want me to call?
Oh.
All right, that's who gets it. I sure hope I don't screw this up. Was this in a flyer box outside?
Yes.
I'm
Did
nervous
they-
right now.
Did they have a sign? Okay.
I think she's about to get a listing.
I mean, if I set this appointment, we'll both go, okay? Because if my voice is a little deeper than yours, and if you show up, they'll be like, I didn't talk to you.
Curtis, stay near the computer
Stay near it.
so they can hear it too. There's like 50 people in there.
Hello.
Hi, I was calling to see if I could speak to the owner at 15809 Sandstone Terrace.
It's 15809.
Is that house still for sale?
Yes.
Great. I was driving by and I saw your sign. I want to let you know up front. I don't like to waste anybody's time, but I am a realtor. I don't know. I wanted to call and find out. Are you willing to work with realtors if we bring you a buyer on the buying side only?
No, you're welcome to bring buyers, but I'm not paying an agency fee. I'm selling it for sale by owner, so I'm not going to pay an agency fee. So if that's something you work out with your buyer, that'd be great.
So what are you listed for?
178.5.
So if I have a buyer that's interested and I bring them by, we can work something out.
No, if you can work something out with them, but I will not be paying agency commission. So it's just something you'll have to work out with your buyer. If they're interested in seeing my house, you're welcome to bring them, but I will not be paying part of the fee.
Okay. How do you do showings? When do you do showings?
I have an open house tomorrow afternoon.
Is there any other times that you let people come see the house? What I do is, when I work with my buyers, I like to preview the homes because I pretty much pre-qualify them, get everything that they're interested in, and then if it meets criteria, I bring them by. Is there a time where I can come by and preview the house?
You can come during the open house, which is tomorrow afternoon.
I have an open house also, so I won't be able to make it during that time. So I would love to come any other time that you're available.
What time is your open house over?
My open houses, I usually don't get done with them until about 5.
Okay, you're welcome to swing by if you can come at 5. And how close is your open house?
It is, it's up in Edmond, so I could probably be there by 30 minutes max. But you want to say like 5:15?
Okay, if you want to come at 5:15 tomorrow, that's great.
Awesome.
But keep in mind, I'm not paying an agency commission, so certainly you're welcome to bring buyers, and if that's something you can work out with them, that would be great.
Perfect. Hey, remind me of your name. And again, I'm Curtis. I don't know if you caught that.
Curtis, I'm Loretta.
Loretta, it was very nice talking to you. I'll just plan on seeing you at 5:15. If anything changes, this is my cell phone. We'll be in touch, but I'll have you down at 5:15 tomorrow.
Okay, and I'm sure any later than that won't work for me because I have church things that I get ready for. So
Perfect. I'll be sure to be on time.
okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
No, so
I never heard that. That one was a difficult one.
that one was, but I don't like it. I don't feel good about it.
You got that one.
She's hating realtors.
So here's the deal with that one. The deal with that one. Yeah. So she really doesn't want to pay. I promise you, if we were to bring an offer with a compensation agreement, then she's probably gonna sign. I don't know. That one's tough.
Listen, here's what you have to realize when for sale banners are like that. Okay, what's the percentage of for sale banners that are going to list? 85%, right? So all Loretta is telling us is what point she is in the education process. She's a baby.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
She ain't even crawling yet, right? Because she's going to realize really fast, okay, that she's not going to, okay, 5, also 85% of buyers are working. Now, that price point is in what? It's in a first-time home buyer's price point, right? So she's expecting a brand new home buyer with absolutely no experience to come pay her full price. And she's probably not willing to pay closing costs either.
No, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So
Right,
she's
so
gonna really, go ahead.
Yeah, she's completely basing this off. She hasn't been on the market long enough to realize the reality. Most of the first time buyers are gonna be working with agents, so she's gonna realize, hey, I'm gonna be paying an agency fee, as she calls it. All right. Eventually, she'll realize that. Then she's gonna realize, okay,
It's probably overpriced.
Right. It's overpriced. She's mean. After a while, she's gonna realize, okay, I'm gonna have to pay a realtor, and then I'm gonna need to list. But it's good. It may take her. It could take her 2 weeks. It could take her 3
But
months.
if we're the ones that came by her house and took the time, when she realizes these things,
No one else is gonna go out there after that conversation.
Right.
I guarantee you're the only two going out.
Yeah, so actually, can you text me that address because I need to prepare for the appointment. I forgot to say this. All right. I love this video. To prepare for the appointment, this is the exact conversation we just had. To prepare for the appointment, I do a CMA. I like to get an idea. I want to be an expert in the neighborhood. I'm not an expert. If somebody says, well, is it priced right? If I don't have a good answer, then I don't appear like an expert, right? And so I need to be prepared. I don't bring up price unless they bring it up. So, okay, this is my favorite video. You probably see it. I don't know.
Is the HDMI plugged in?
Yeah.
If it's the HDMI, then it goes through this. So
Do you have my? I'll just text me so I have your number. 405-501-8398.
You were quick on your feet on where you were having your open house. Because what if you weren't really having one tomorrow?
Well,
Which
I
of course
was,
you are.
So
You should be. Everyone should.
Well, as well
You
as
always have an open house.
yeah, that's the.
Is it on?
Yeah, well, I can't see. I don't, how do you tell?
He's gonna have lights right here.
And are you good at
it's on.
5:15 tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because that's the only time we're at is
The HDMI is plugged in. And the sound goes through.
Make sure I bring her a new
No,
Bible.
just let.
What neighborhood is that?
Let's just do it from the computer.
Oklahoma City, but it's
I guess it
really
also,
in-
like,
Like what
I
church
don't
do
know
you
the
go
name
to?
of the but I have a good representation.
Maybe you
Going to
need to
friends'
go to
house,
church.
and they come to us, and we did the comp on our house, and they're open nice.
It's that.
Her and they got Andy and then said she was going to church.
Oh, I know. It's not a good representation here. But I'm sorry.
Sarah.
S-A-R-H.
Last name R-H-I-N.
No.
Yes, my house is listed with the property man. I have had many website hits.
Your website advertisement on propertymen.com. The benefits of listing your home on the MLS.
No, I'm selling privately and listed with the property man. You can bring your buyers to my home.
That sounds great. So you are cooperating with agents who have buyers for your home?
Yes, but we are not paying a commission. Bring your buyers.
So you want me to show your home to my buyers, but you aren't offering any commission?
No, we are selling privately with the property man.
Interesting.
I can offer you a $1,000 fee if you have a buyer who will pay me full asking price.
I understand. I will make a note of that. So tell me, in this competitive real estate market, why did you decide to sell your home yourself rather than list with a real estate agent?
I want to save the commission.
I can appreciate that.
That's why I'm with the property man. I want to save the commission.
If there was an actual financial benefit for you to list your home with me rather than sell it on your own, would you have just a few minutes to meet with me?
No, I want to save the commission.
I see. And if there was a plan that could put more money in your pocket at the end of the sale, would you want to know about it?
No, I want to save the commission.
If I knew how I could put an extra $5,000 to $10,000 in your hand, even after any commission is paid, can we meet for about 20 minutes? Might you have some time later this afternoon?
No, I want to save the commission.
I owe you a check right now for $1 million to list your home with me.
No, I want to save the
Selling it yourself or getting the most amount of money?
It is about saving the commission. I have priced my house lower than the MLS competition because I'm not paying a commission.
So because you are not paying a commission, you lowered your price to the point where you will make the same amount of money that you would if you listed your home on the MLS with an agent, but you are doing all the work yourself?
Yes, but I'm saving the commission. That's right. I don't want to pay a commission.
Interesting.
Please bring me your buyers. My property then listing is not bringing me buyers.
And if I have a buyer for your home?
I can offer you a $1,000 fee if you have a buyer who will pay me full asking price.
I understand. I don't think I can help you. Thank you for your time today. Good luck selling your home privately. Have a nice day.
Will you bring me your buyers?
No, probably not. I don't think I will.
Wait. Don't go. How much commission do you charge for listing?
It's sad, but that's really true. I'm not talking, Curtis. You're supposed to talk. You're answering questions.
If you guys have any questions, so if in the beginning, because even that phone call I made, like I wanted to give up. I didn't want to have to deal with her. I still don't know if I would deal with her. But when we go to that appointment, I'm going to take it with the approach of, look, I really want to try to find you a buyer because eventually she's going to come around and her house will not sell the way that it's listed and the way that she is acting. It just won't, and we know that, and so we just have to keep like our emotions in check and just realize, hey, we're just going to come look at the house, meet her. She might, after we talk to her, she might become a nice person. She might get the reverse effect. And so just remember on those phone calls, set the appointment. I don't care what they say. Just set the appointment and then go on the appointment. We're really going to try to find you a buyer. We have an office of 150 realtors. Let's use it and see if we can find a buyer, Now, it's a different story since she's not willing to work with us on the buying side yet. So it gets tricky. I don't think I'll ask for the business at this one for 4.5%.
Have you ever, and of course I haven't made it for somebody on a call in 2 years, so I used to, if they would get into that discussion, I'd say, okay, well, a lot of times the buyers, because they have to bring all their closing costs and then having the fee on top of it, my fee, are you okay if I end up having to raise the sales price of the house to compensate for that commission?
Yeah.
Does that work out for you?
Yes,
and then you kind of explain, right?
Yep, I've said that, but if they're already overpriced, it's really hard to say. I don't.
But it's kind of like working. Like
working into it. Yes.
She can come to the conclusion of, let her say, oh well, that's probably too high. Well,
yeah.
How do you know it's too high already?
Yeah.
I mean, you priced it once, so why does add another $5,000 on it make you? And then gets in the car. Well, why would you think that's too high?
Yeah.
Then you can start through the comps and work her back into it.
So I love that. I love that because it's two things. One, it's working your way into a yes, into a, okay, yes, if you do raise the price and cover the cost, then yes, we'll do the 3%. So that works your way into a yes. But then it also opens the conversation up to see what they think of the price of their house and where are we really at. Do they have a good idea of what they're going to net? And they have a price in mind. And they want that number. They calculate that 6% and they're going to save it. Well, two things. It's in a first-time homebuyer price range. First-time homebuyers are not 99% of the time are going to have an agent, so you're going to have to pay that 3% or find that special buyer that's going to be gullible enough to believe everything she says, or you're going to get a savvy person who knows what they're doing, doesn't need an agent. Well, they know you're saving 6%, so at very minimum, their offer is going to be 6% less than list. And if they're overpriced, they want a deal, right? So they're gonna offer. They could offer $15,000, $20,000 less than list. They're gonna end up netting close to the same amount or less. if they do it on their own, and they're going to do all the work themselves, and they don't understand that. That's the point we have to get across. Is that national average realtors across the nation, not per transaction, but realtors have their sales price is $20,000 higher on average than for some owners. So it's proven that not only do we can close deals at a higher price point, but we can sell them faster because we have a system that has 5,000 realtors and qualified buyers, and we can make them more money. We can get them through the inspection period. We can get them through all this stuff. So, any other questions? We went a little over. Yes.
Just one. When you add to the sales price to, make up for the commissions, do you ever run into a problem with it appraising for that?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, if they're already overpriced, and we say that. Well, first of all, I'm not going to. If I was working with a buyer, it's going to be hard for me to advise them to overpay by a lot.
Just so you get paid.
Yeah, just yeah, yeah, and yeah. If we did do that though, then yes, we would have problems with the appraisal. And then if we have problems with the appraisal, that's something that we can, what Steve was bringing up, we can get into that conversation. Like, look, if you end up getting somebody that pays $185 for your house, what are you going to do if it doesn't appraise? Do you know what to do? No. Now you create a doubt in their mind. They don't know what to do, and so they're going to need a professional. So it's a lot of things that people don't think about when they're selling real estate. But any other questions?
Curtis, I was going to identify this or whatever, or even cancel it out. But I was listening to somebody talk one time. They said that one of the reasons why for sale by owners have a hard time selling a home too is because your everyday person is fearful. Well, not everyday person, but the realtors are. Their number one fear is, will I get paid? And if you're dealing with a for sale by owner, you don't know what you're dealing with. Neither does a person off the street know what they're dealing with. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying there's a lot of apprehensions there usually.
Yeah.
Because if the person has a license, then you know if that person does something unethical or whatever, then you can kind of deal with it, through the whatever OREC or whatever. But that something you've heard before? Or?
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why 85% of them list, because buyers don't trust them. Sellers aren't going to get honest feedback from buyers. Buyers are apprehensive of working with for sale by owners. Realtors also I don't like to call and show for sale by owner because I know that they don't want to work with an agent. And not only that, but I'm going to have to do twice the amount of work. I have to do the sell side and the buy side when I go into a for sale by owner transaction. So yeah, that's going to go into the 85% of why they're going to end up listing because of those reasons. So.
And we're the only company that I've ever seen that does what we do on our website. So we know that after this phone call that you just made,
I was thinking about this already. I was going to have
and typically what most people will do is if they don't know who he is or our company, they'll go look him up. If they remember, it's Kevo. Probably 1,500 brand new people a month that come to our website now. And we did this on purpose to back you guys up. So they go right in, if they look it up and they pull up. I mean, that's pretty blunt. He couldn't tell her she's stupid. But Kevo Properties can say it. And here's how it goes through the reasons why it's not a good idea. And then Curtis, if you'll scroll it down, to give a third party that's, they can look, and here's Dave Ramsey. They can click on that link.
You may play it.
If it'll,
All right, Cameron is also in Colorado Springs. Hey, Cameron, how are you?
Good, very good. Thanks for taking my call. I got a quick question.
Sure.
I have a house in Colorado Springs, but my grandmother died, so I moved back home, which is about 3 hours southeast of Colorado Springs, not in the high plains, close to Kansas, to be with my family. And I purchased another house with my wife here. And so my question, Dave, is should I try and sell that house myself, do a for sale by owner, or should I get a real estate agent? I've done some research online, and I'm not sure what the best deal would be.
Typically, the research tells us that a high quality real estate agent that really knows what they're doing will add more to the equation than they cost. Because people make mistakes when they're selling their own home, and the mistakes are costly in calculations They can make a mistake in pricing the property in properly. And if you price it too high, it doesn't sell. If you price it too low, you left money on the table. You can do things and overlook things on the marketing aspects that cause it to stay on the market longer. And of course, the longer it stays on the market, the more it costs you. That costs you money.
Sure.
And it's difficult for most people. Very few people are skilled enough negotiators to negotiate something face to face and do as well as if they have an intermediary between the buyer and the seller. You can go back and forth and they can go back and forth, keep some deals together that wouldn't have been kept together, and be able to talk them up to your price in a counter offer, or be able to work through with you and actually get the deal closed. So the probability of it closing, the probability of it closing at all, probability of it closing faster, and for the highest possible price, those three things combine, the research tells us, to cover the cost of commission. Because the other thing you need to keep in mind is seldom do you save both halves of the commission. Typically, there's a buyer's commission and a seller's commission. And if a real estate agent,
commission be?
the normal commission is 6% in most areas. Some places it's 7% on residential, but that's pretty standard across. It's not fixed or anything; it's just customary across the United States. But if you put it up for sale, and a realtor comes to you and says, "I have a buyer, but you need to pay me a 3% commission," which is half of the commission. That's how it works in the real estate world. You say, "Sure." Well, now you only saved half a commission. You didn't save the whole commission. And so, that's the other thing you got to keep in mind. That often happens, by the way. So I'm a big believer in a high-quality realtor, and I endorse realtors for that reason. High-quality real estate agents all over America. That's why we have our endorsed local providers of real estate. If I didn't believe
I've been
in that,
endorsed by Dave Ramsey.
You have to sell a lot of properties.
That gets away with, it's Dave Ramsey, who's a big believer in obviously saving money across the country, and so you got him saying it, and then what would be really cool is if this lady would go watch this coming in, then you don't have to. It kind of covers some of the stuff you may not feel comfortable in the beginning saying, but here we can say it for you sometimes. And then after the appointment is a lot of times they'll go back if they kind of liked you after the appointment, because a lot of times they won't remember the name of the company. Then they'll still go to the website. They'll see that we have 270 listings. They can see your face. Then they can see what our company thinks, and our website's designed to get you more listings. That's what it's for. It's there. So if your photo's not on there, you should get it, because people like to check you out. The realtor page is the most second highest thing that people visit when they go to our website. Obviously, houses is number 1, but then we can track them, and the next thing they go to highest is looking at the realtor's photos. There you go.
Any other questions, guys? No? Good. Okay, I'm just kidding. Anything though?
He left his baby in the car.
Don't talk about that.
Watching. The motor's still going.
Terrible. I tried to do it, so Brett is having a baby soon, and I tried to see if he would help me out this morning and watch my son for an hour to get practice, and he had nothing of it. He was like, "No, I don't want that."
Baby time coming up.